Hi, um, my name is Okwayemi Olugbemiro. If you've been on this YouTube channel for like a while, you would, at least you would know that part. I've not released videos in a couple of months now, after giving you guys back to back for some time. I think I just needed some space. So today's episode or edition is just going to be free, open, and a bit personal. I went to chill and relax, to just get my head back in like the right space. And this morning, as we were walking to the lake, I think someone asked a question around brand strategy, rather around their company, and I started answering how brand strategy can help them to solve it. And it just came to my head that why can't I just make a video on how brand strategy in itself can be very, very important to the things we do and how we do the things we do, and in building some of the most amazing companies that we can ever have. I started with an example, right? That someone beside me was wearing a slippers, non-labeled slippers, one of those slippers, and I said, do you know that if that guy, if suddenly or something just happened and we didn't even know, and Nike just decided to put their logo on that slippers, that thing automatically increases the value of that slippers, right? I am quick to always explain that apart from that there is always that important part of business success when it comes to branding, right? You should know your numbers. You should know how to build quality stuff. You should know how to deliver customer excellence. You should know how to do amazing work. But there's also that part around what is that thing that your logo or your experience should remind people of. I know I have spoken about this a lot in like previous videos, but today I want to talk about what my dream job could be if I had a magic wand to design my job. Yes, it would be a brand strategist, right? But what would this brand strategist be doing? What would be my job? What would I be helping a brand to do? Right? That's like what I want to talk about in like the next few minutes, and I hope you enjoy it. So, what would be my job as a brand strategist? I want to be able to design how people see and experience a brand. I want to be able to decide that this is who we are as a company. This is what we do. This is what we stand for. This is what you won't catch us doing. These are the places you can find our logo and not be shocked or surprised. These are the things that define our actions, the quality of service that we communicate, right? I want to be able to fully represent that for a brand without the chance of then being mistaken for something else, right? I think I've always said that branding, when done right, is that thing that happens when you are so good in terms of what your brand is that anytime you are off brand, people can recognize and can possibly even first make an excuse for you, right? That's when branding is done right. So how am I going to try to achieve this within the confines of an internal system or a company structure? That would be like the next question, right? A few minutes ago, I was reading something on Binger's status, on a friend's status, right? And he was saying something like sometimes that he is saying that a lot of brands do not really know how to manage the whole ethics, right? So people like us who are the brand comms people, we can try all our best to communicate, defend when like a lot of things go wrong. But who is ensuring that things go right so we do not have to defend things that go wrong? I think that's like the first part of my job, right? Being in the offices of decision makers as the voice of reason for the brand when financial, economic, structural, HR, and different decisions are being made, even when technological decisions are being made. Because at the back of my mind, the only thing I'm thinking is, how would people receive? How would people experience, right? I know that in one of my videos, I've already spoken about the fact that your brand is not what people say it is. Your brand is who you say it is, right? But again, it will be arrogant for you to just say that my brand is what I say it is and not what people say it is, without considering the fact that you're engaging people. So the balance to that is, why my brand is who I say it is, I am not ignorant of the fact that I am relating with people and that their feelings, emotions, sometimes survival, sometimes experiences are dependent on how I communicate my brand. This is who I am, but how I communicate to the people that I want to communicate with will change from time to time, places to places, culture to culture, experiences to experiences, even different demography, even within the same culture. So that is what can change. So I am not ignorant of the fact that I have people I am dealing with, but I am certain about who I am, because in itself, right, if you are not standing, how do you draw people to where you are, which is what every brand wants to do. So you need to first decide what your brand is. Yeah, take a stand. Back to the conversation so I don't lose it, right? So the first thing for me is being that voice of reason in meetings, and like voice of reason, not about around money. I mean, there should be someone handling that, but that I can always defend the brand, that I can always defend the integrity of the brand that helps us make money. I can always say that, oh, I mean, this would be nice to sponsor, but we really do not have to talk about the fact that we sponsored this. I mean, we just go ahead and do great work and have impactful life. I can always help them to say, oh, we need to be able to document this so that it becomes cultural, right? I can always say that this decision is good, but it is not who we are, and because it is not who we are, it is not something that we are supposed to come into. I think that's one, for my dream job. Secondly, I need to be that guy that helps to harmonize the decision of what this value, core systems, expressions, experiences are. So decide it. I mean, it is like, I want to be the guy that says, this is who we are, this is what we do, and decides those things in not design alone, like co-create these things with the leaders of the company, major stakeholders in the company, right? Most times, I think it was on a podcast for FourthCanvas that I shared that a brand strategy document is more like a constitution, right? It's and there is no civilization that has progressed over generation, right, without some form of a written or non-written constitution. So that's what your brand strategy document that we need to create with the leaders is supposed to help you do. Document the things that are important to you, so that even when new people come to the team, they know what they are not supposed to be doing. Right? I was using an example for the guys earlier today when I said, I mean, so yesterday we were told, oh, wake up 6:30 and we are going for a walk. If someone is not awake by 6:30, the person automatically knows that he is not in alignment with our journey as a company. Another example I usually use is, if all of us decided in the company that we are taking a bus to Mushin, right? Mushin is a place in Nigeria, and in Lagos, Nigeria, and we entered the bus and we are going to Mushin, and someone just decides to stop in Yaba. Everybody like, where are you going to? The only reason why it is obvious that you're not in alignment with where we are going to is because we have described where we are going to. So it is now clear if you are not in sync with every other person in the company, right? That's the second one. I mean, the third one would be that I want to be able to intelligently visualize how people experience this. I usually say that I think one of the things that give me confidence to be able to do what I do now is, a couple of years ago, I sat down and I said I wanted to be known as a brand storyteller. I mean, I think that was one of the first times I did a brand strategy. I mean, and I did it for myself and it worked. I mean, so I I sat down and I was like, okay, I've worked in radio for a couple of years. I've worked in newspaper for a couple of years. I mean, I've been at the top echelon of a design agency for a couple of years. And that, what is that thing that connects? I mean, I could talk, I could write amazingly well too, right? And what is that thing that connects everything? And what was that? I mean, it was brand storytelling. It was the fact that I could tell stories, and so I started calling myself brand storyteller. I mean, in like 6 7 months after it was my birthday, it was in January, and almost every greeting that was written. At that time, there were not a lot of people called brand storytellers in Nigeria, right? And people were like, brand storyteller, brand. And I'm like, so I designed this in my head that this is how I wanted to be perceived. And based on my actions and inactions and disposition to a lot of things, people started calling me that. In that, some of the things we are shocked about, they designed and planned it. Right? So some of the things that sometimes even outrage, right? There is a plan to milk the outrage. I was having a conversation with not no I was reading a conversation on Twitter a few days ago, and someone was like, some people say silence is something about it's a communication strategy in the time of crisis, and I smiled and I was like, in response, yes. Yes, right. Silence is a type of strategy, right? But it is always a part of a strategy. Silence is usually not all the strategy. I mean, so it is a mix. It is one ingredient of a whole mix. You can't just keep quiet because people have already formed an opinion based on what they have heard already, right? So the only thing you can do, even if you are keeping quiet, is to over a period of time make intentional effort to substitute that ideal and intention, that thought pattern in people's mind using several other efforts, especially if you're genuine and true, right? So silence is always part of a strategy, not the only strategy. I'm saying that to align with where I was coming from, that I want to be able to design how people react to stuff. I want to be able to design people's happiness. I want to be able to design people's hope, right, based on the quality of products that I'm pushing out, right? And for me, it's that I want an amazing product. I want an amazing service that I can represent and embody, in that it has like some socio-economic impact, right? At the moment, what I think is more like my anchor, I don't, I almost said anchor scripture. What I think is like my anchor statement is, I want to tell the stories of Africa's most ambitious brands. And it's for a reason, because I know that the successes of a race it's hidden in the stories that people or generations can get to see and mirror as something that it is, that's as something that is possible. And that is why I really enjoyed Black Panther, because until we get a picture, it's difficult to be able to situate your place in that future. All right. And so I want to be able to design that, to be able to tell those stories. I need to be able to create some of these stories also. And that is where and that is where it aligns with what I think should be one of the parts of my dream job, right? I mean, so I'm saying this from my heart. I really do not know if I could repeat, if I said I wanted to do like a rundown, but it's literally important for me that my job gives me an opportunity to be able to tell compelling stories. My job gives me an opportunity to be able to inspire people to be better. My job gives me an opportunity to design people's experiences around the things we have built, right? Because at the back of my mind, the only reason why we're even doing this work is that we want people's life to be in a certain way. I mean, and it goes across the different hierarchy of needs, survival, even down to the part where it's no more survival, where you're not even like thinking luxury or just thinking comfort or just thinking feeling. I need to be able to situate my product or my service in your experience, so you see how it makes your life better. That's the kind of job I want, really. That's my dream job. And there is something I always put at the back of my mind when it comes to being a brand strategist. I mean, now a brand strategist, a brand comms person, a brand storyteller. Because irrespective of which I get, I'm always going to try to find a way to see how I can ensure that these other things are like in it. And also, if you really want to be a brand strategist, these are some of the things that you should be looking at, learning the tricks or the traits or the secrets of the art that gives you an opportunity to do this, because I am beginning to learn, which has been like one of the things I have done in the last couple of months, how to translate creative effort to number results for the companies I am part of, right? I think it was like 2 years ago. I think I have a draft. I don't know if I've ever written the article that it was like converting letters to numbers. Letters mean alphabet, numbers mean money for the brands that I represent. So my dream job is first being able to harmonize how everybody in the company sees the company, so that all of us can be on the same page. It's also that ability to gather feedback and be able to distill feedback into insights, right? Because not all feedback are insights, right? That ability to spot vuvuzelas, people who can make noise for your brands, but may not necessarily be buying from you, but they have impact in communities, and deploy them for us and maximize their reach, right? To get the people that we want to get. It is that ability to be able to design the experiences of people. It could be joy, it could be love, it could be, yeah. It's also that ability to defend the genuineness of our heart even when we make mistake, and that's like crisis comes, right? It's also that opportunity to be able to connect with our people, right? Some level of community building, right? I mean, so and in my head, I think that's my dream job. Is this something you would like to be a part of? I don't know. I mean, or like, is this something you want to do? I mean, I don't know too. But if this is something you really want to do, just, I mean, tell me in the comment section. Maybe you love my dream job, and let's see how the communication evolves. My name is Okwayemi Olugbemiro, and I hope you really enjoy today's session. Thank you. You can also like watch my videos. Like, there are a couple of other videos around like the technical part, brand strategy, storytelling, and several other parts. But yeah, thank you for um, watching my video today, and I hope you have an amazing time afterwards.